the Dean Dome on the campus of the University of North Carolina. This is NCAA basketball on CBS. Today we've got a hot one for you out of the ACC as the fifth-ranked Tar Heels take on the young Hokies from Virginia Tech. And a look at the standings in the ACC. Duke, the class of the conference, they're undefeated. Carolina right in their hip pocket, and Virginia Tech in the hunt with a 5-5 record. Hi, everybody. I'm Gus Johnson, along with my partner, Billy Packer, and welcome to the Tar Heel State, where this North Carolina squad comes in here limping a little bit, Billy.
Well, they really are, Gus. We saw him in practice yesterday. Lawson will not play today. That ankle's still bothering him. Green out with the flu yesterday, probable for today. Thompson, we know about that knee injury. He will not play at 100%.
So without Lawson, this Carolina team has had to find ways to win.
Yes, he got hurt in that Florida State game. Of course, when you have Hansbrough on your club, you know you've got one healthy player. The Duke game was a brutal basketball game, well played by both teams. Had an incredible double overtime win and comeback against Clemson. And then they had to get on the bus and travel to Charlottesville, Virginia. Well, although Virginia is hurting right now from a standpoint of their record, it was a brutal basketball game. This has been some stretch for North Carolina.
All right, coming up, the first and only meeting of the season between these two. CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by Coke Zero. Coke Zero reminds you to never back down. Demand real Coca-Cola taste and 0 calories. State Farm, great service, great rates, it's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. And by T. Rowe Price, providing investment management excellence for over 70 years. Invest with confidence. All right, welcome back to the Dean Dome. We're ready for Virginia Tech and North Carolina. Gus Johnson, Billy Packer with you. We'll take a look first at the young Virginia Tech Hokies, 14-10, 5-5 in conference play. Delaney, solid freshman point guard from Baltimore. Basayo is their leading scorer at 17 a game. Jeff Allen, he's another impressive freshman in the middle, along with Washington and J.T. Thompson. So we take a look at the North Carolina Tar Heels, 23-2, 8-2 in the conference. Thomas, Ellington, and Ginyard. Ellington has really been heating it up from downtown recently with Thompson and Mr. Hansbrough, the other forward. Today's game is brought to you in HDTV by Harris Corporation, the world leader in broadcast systems for high-definition television and mobile media. The Dean Dome, 21,000 plus. Virginia Tech, winners here last season. They swept the series a year ago and were underway from Chapel Hill. Billy, what should we pay attention to early?
I think what we're going to have to look at early is what kind of leg shape does North Carolina have? They looked very tired yesterday. There is a good sign that Ellington got good elevation on his jump shot.
Ellington, 47 points in his last 2 games, and a quick whistle and a quick foul.
Thompson for setting a screen while he was moving.
Actually, they called that on Jeff Allen, a freshman out of DeMatha High School in Maryland. Played at Hargrave as well.
He's lifting his hands up, wondering what was that foul all about. It's exactly what they were practicing yesterday.
Here's Hansbrough facing up on the baseline, 12-footer, and hits.
Thompson a little small to be guarding Hansbrough that low the basket. North Carolina, particularly if he's going to play behind him like that, is going to go to Hansbrough up. And look at that kickoff.
Here he comes, Hansbrough to the bucket. And it goes down. They had dead legs yesterday, but it looks like they're up now.
It really does. This team obviously had to travel on Monday. They played against Virginia Tuesday night, then they traveled back here, got in about 2:30.
And another steal. Ellington tracks it down, and we will go the other way.
Good job by the officials there. That ball did Ellington right on the knee. Look at Hansbrough dribble the ball on the open floor, Gus. We're seeing here in the last couple of weeks things that he's doing that he really didn't show earlier in his career. Putting the ball on the floor, putting up to take some jump shots. Total all-around play.
Hansbrough had 39 against Clemson. He's averaging 23 and 11 on the season. His numbers just really showing that he is a National Player of the Year candidate. Basayo off the bounce to the bucket to run it. Short. Batted around. And he sticks it in.
Terrific rebound, and he's got excellent hands, does the freshman who basically was suspended for 2 games, and we'll get into that later in terms of why, but has great hands.
Also is terrific at stealing the ball. has an opportunity to set the Virginia Tech freshman record for steals, and there's Coach Roy. 5th year. He's won a national championship already and had a chance to visit with him yesterday, and what a pleasant person, and his team is trying to battle Billy through all of this adversity.
Well, he said in all his years of coaching, he's never had to go through something like he is right now, losing what he had probably the deepest point guard position in the country. Lost Frazier with a knee problem, then Lawson out with the ankle, and so now you have Thomas, who is really going to be the #3 point guard, required to play almost 30 minutes a game.
Whitney Thomas with the ball now of Oakland, California. He's been playing with back spasm. Ellington has it stripped. Here comes Delaney, straight to the basket, no call. Looks like he was fouled there. And Carolina takes over. Ginyard has been playing with some gimpy feet. Thompson.
I was surprised he made that shot, had a hard time on the catch. Was able to pull it back together.
Washington the other way, fouled from behind. So Seth Greenberg recently given a new contract extension, which will take him through the 2012-2013 season. He's got a lot of freshmen on this team, but what you like about them at 5-5 in conference play, they play really hard.
Oh, they do. They've got a deep team, but it's an extremely young team. 6 freshmen play very important parts to this basketball team. He lost Xavier Dowdell last year. Jamon Gordon, who would probably as fine a pair of guards as this conference has seen in a while, and Coleman Collins. So they lost almost a good portion, not only of 3 starters, but a great portion of their offense and defense.
Washington at the line, second free throw off the mark, batted around, picked up by Ellington. Last year, Tech defeated #4 North Carolina here at the Dean Dome, 81-80. They swept the season series.
In the first game, they beat in Blacksburg. North Carolina was #1 in the country at that time.
Hansbrough double team, had it blocked. Great defense on the baseline by J.T. Thompson. He's another freshman.
I'm surprised that Hansbrough isn't taking him down low as opposed to shooting his jumper over him. He's got him probably about, I'd say, a good 3 inches, and we know what an overpowering low post player he is.
So Thomas will inbound it on the baseline. Ginyard, Thompson, Hansbrough, and Ellington. Ginyard with the step on the baseline, cut off nicely by J.T. Thompson. Swing it. Thomas, 4 to shoot. Ellington, 1 dribble, rise and fire.
Well, Vasallo, because of Ellington's great ability to shoot from range, had to go on that pump fake for the block.
Talked to Ellington before the game. I said, what have you done to get your offense going again? He said, you know, I was in a slump, so what I had to do was start getting some easy baskets. I've been aggressive. I'm going to the 3-4 line and also getting buckets in transition.
He's really utilizing that pump fake now because he has the pull-up jumper from mid-range, which not many college players have.
J.T. Thompson forcing his way inside. Ginyard flips it down. Here come the Tar Heels on the move.
Being such a young club, Virginia Tech has had problems this year, falling behind early in ball games.
All batted around. Washington snares it. Here's Delaney. Hard to the bucket down the lane, and he'll go to the line. So the North Carolina Tar Heels average over 90 points per game, and they're second in the conference, in the country rather, Bill, in scoring.
They have an opportunity right now. They are the 8th leading scoring team in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference. The other teams were pretty decent. North Carolina State in 1973, an undefeated team that did not go into the NCAA tournament. But they were the leading all-time at 92.9 points per game. Duke that won the national championship in 01 is #2, so that's pretty good company to be involved with.
So a couple of subs coming in. Alex Stevenson, as well as Danny Green. And Green missed practice yesterday because of the flu.
I really think that Ginyard and Thompson both look like they were in pretty good shape today compared to yesterday, though.
Another sub coming in. This is Lewis Witcher, sophomore, Rocky Mount, Virginia. And Jeff Allen will take a seat. Thomas, he has had to play a lot of minutes now with Lawson injured. Inside, Hansbrough, and he will go to the line.
Witcher now on that switch. Thompson no longer guarding Hansbrough. A good slip to the inside by Hansbrough. So quick and a terrific finisher.
So Tyler has become Mr. February around these parts. Look at what he's done this month.
Against outstanding competition. We saw him yesterday. We talked to To the trainers, they said that he had his toenail taken off. And yet, when you watched him in practice yesterday, it was still 100%. He got here yesterday early, and the first person on the floor, maybe a half an hour before any of his teammates, was Hansbrough, was out working on his jump shot from 15 to 20 feet.
He was also the last person to leave. Messiah, baseline, Washington.
Not a good ball shooter.
A.T. Thompson. Picked up. Ellington pushes it. Thomas tracks it down. Oh! Alex Stevenson with the tip jam.
Good hustle by Stevenson, always assuming a shot will be missed. Green on another block. That's his 89th career block for Green.
And this North Carolina team, with its largest lead, coming out playing with great energy on their home floor. Inside and an offensive foul will go against Delaney.
Everything started by the Green block, and there's a great hustle by Stevenson coming in from behind. No block out by Virginia Tech. This young team has been taken to school early.
15:38 to play, the first half. All Carolina up 14-5.
AT&T's Coach's Corner. Hot topics, candid comments, and only on your AT&T handset. This week, the top college coaches around the country discuss the freshman NBA rule.
If a kid wanted to come out of high school and team wanted to draft them, I would have no problem with that. You know, there's some kids in that league that are doing so well who went straight out of high school. So why should we stop another young man that wants to do it?
Access CV on your wireless AT&T phone to watch the complete Coach's Corner video and exclusive NCAA March Madness highlights.
All right, let's take a look at the longest active win streaks in Division I.
Well, everybody looking forward to that Memphis-Tennessee game, a Davidson club that played a very difficult schedule early on, playing with the likes of North Carolina, Duke, UCLA, and now really on a roll in the Southern Conference.
Here's Stevenson along with Thomas, Hansbrough, Green, Ellington, quick release. And out of bounds.
Excellent skip pass that time by Thomas. Green being overplayed, threw it right cross court. Ellington's going to make that shot 60% of the time with that kind of a wide open look.
So North Carolina 6 of 10 from the field to start this game. Virginia Tech 1 of 6. Hank Thorns is checked in. Diminutive little point guard. Baseline Washington. Too strong. Batted around. Knocked out of bounds. Will head the other way.
Washington, a player that plays with an awful lot of energy. Has had some good games against North Carolina. And, of course, had an excellent game, and really is the guy that sealed it last year with a tremendous block against Lawson to put that game into overtime for Virginia Tech to come back and win it.
He's 0 for 3 to start. They front Hansbrough, and a foul. Very good entry pass by the Tar Heels to find their All-American.
Well, Hansbrough doing a good job realizing how he's being played in this ball game. A smaller man was playing him early. He shot over the top. Now a guy without that strength, he goes inside down low.
So Witcher picks up his second. Hansbrough and Thomas head out of the game. And Ginyard is back in along with Thompson. Ginyard will move over to the point guard position. He is playing with some tender feet, as we mentioned. Turf toe, as well as a right ankle injury.
Nice doubling down by Virginia Tech at this point. Good defense.
And Ellington can't hold on. Last touch by Virginia Tech.
Thorns doubling down and realizing that Ginyard really probably doesn't want to take that outside jumper. So really doubling down on Thompson, who has got really good low post moves. Green, he wanted that jumper.
He wanted it. He told me before the game all he needs to do is hit one, and he's ready. Stevenson, turnaround jump shot in shot.
A good high and low by the two sophomores that are really coming on, going to be a factor in this stretch run for North Carolina.
Now the Tar Heels trapping. Allen in the corner. Messiah
made everything yesterday in practice.
Messiah tracks down the rebound. Mid-range jump shot is pure.
Thompson should have had that loose ball. Just got out-hustled on that play. I'm sure Coach Williams won't like that in the film review.
A.D. Basayo averages close to 17 points per game. He shoots 44%. His father played 17 years in the Puerto Rican League. Talks to his dad before every game, the night before the day up. Inside, Stevenson. Can't get that one to fall. Here's Thorne. He pushes. Leaves it. Basayo.
Really nice job by Basayo. He got hit on that shot as well. Normally a guy will walk, and we've seen it so many times, Gus. He makes the catch and tries to pull up to the stop. They call for walking. That was a fine move.
And I know you love to see players like this man play under control, especially in transition. Thompson, 15-footer.
Notice how they're giving him that short 12 to 15-foot shot. Stevenson again on the hustle play.
New shot clock for Carolina. And they throw it away. So without Ty Lawson, this team has had to find ways to win.
Well, you can see what he meant to this ball club, and on both sides, not only individually what it means in terms of assists, but he makes everybody better, and he really is the guy that created the offense and the defensive style that North Carolina played. Without him, they have no replacement for his style or ability.
Left ankle sprain suffered February 23rd against Florida State. Didn't play against Duke, Clemson, Virginia, and now against Virginia Tech. Allen, turnaround jump shot way too strong.
He's got to get started and really start providing something in the way of points and rebounds for this club.
Danny Green and checking foul coming up. And that will go against Dorenzo Hudson, freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now you're looking at Allen averaging almost 13 points and 8 rebounds a game. Basically, has been a no factor here for the first 8 minutes of this one.
So a lot of young players, as you mentioned, it must be an overwhelming feeling as a freshman to come in and play here at the Dean Dome.
Well, a terrific opportunity in the place they've all, most of these guys have seen this place either in person or on TV before.
Green, left hand block. And finally, Thompson is there. Chet Chiquite, the junior from Mali, got a hand on it. And Carolina hustling, and they'll get it to fall. 18-9 now. Saya off the dribble, takes it down.
Fadeaway shot from the corner, tough one. Green looks like he's suffering no ill effects from that flu problem. Didn't have the angle on the pass.
When it comes to rebounding, this North Carolina team leads the nation at 45 per game.
11.3 more than their opponents. Terrific advantage.
And what makes it very interesting is that as Thomas comes back into the game, Tyler Hansbrough is the only player on this Carolina team in the top 20 in rebounding in the ACC.
Of course, he leads the league as #1 with almost 11 a game, so that takes away. But they get rebounding from all positions. Their guards do a good job rebounding, particularly when Green is playing in the guard position.
Jeff Allen, and he travels.
Well, he's having a nightmare in the first half.
11:56 to play first half. North Carolina with an 18-9 lead over Virginia Tech.
I'm Seth Davis with the Pacific Life Update as we look at the Pacific Life CBS Top 10 poll. Tennessee is closing in on a #1 seed in the tournament. Texas slides up to #9 after upsetting Kansas. And Purdue leads the Big Ten. Now back to the game.
Under 12 to play in the first half. Carolina with an 18-9 lead. This North Carolina team, Billy, they've won 5 of their last 6, and they're coming off that 75-74 win over Virginia. And here's the team that without Lawson in the lineup, you really like their development, because when he comes back, everybody else on their squad will have grown a little bit.
Particularly the man with the ball right now, Thomas, who is playing, as I said, many more minutes than was expected and playing under pressure, knowing he's the guy that has to initiate the offense.
Graves is checked in. He wears number 13 for North Carolina. Hansbrough, guarded by Allen, takes him off the dribble inside, got him in the air and traveled. Now next, the PGA Tour on CBS and the FedEx Cup take you to Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades for all the action at the Northern Trust Open.
Roy Williams was very upset with that call, and I don't blame him, and he really got in the ear of the official. Hansbrough is really outstanding, not walking when he gets down low in traffic, and Roy Williams is still working the referees on the call.
And we'll get a push coming up against Deion Thompson.
Look at Roy. He is letting them know that that is not a walk.
Thompson picks up the second. Your officials this afternoon, Mr. Sean Hill, Mr. Brian Dorsey, and Mr. Ray Perone. As Thompson heads out of the game, Back in, Alex Stevenson.
Stevenson had some really good minutes when he came in earlier in this ballgame. He gets right back in there, rewarded for his effort.
Virginia Tech needs to hit shots. They're 3 of 12 to start this game. 0 for 3 from the three-point line. Hudson off the heel. Here comes Thomas. On the baseline, Graves muscles it up.
That was a terrific job by Graves, who's got a big, strong body. Because Hudson is also a guy that's pretty strong.
Will Graves, a redshirt freshman from Greensboro. He's lost over 30 pounds since becoming a member of this North Carolina team. And a whistle, offensive foul on Thorns as Ginyard, one of the best defenders in the ACC, slides in and takes the charge.
You know, Gus, very difficult teams for many, many years to drive the baseline and finish for the simple reason they're forcing you to go baseline, and they're getting weak side help that's going to be there, and particularly for a small guy that drives baseline, because he's going to be up against a shot blocker coming from the weak side. He's got to understand that play's not going to be available unless you have a wide open lane to the basket for a dunk finish.
Here's Graves. Does have a very nice perimeter jump shot. Pops out. Hansbrough on the wing, 12 to shoot, baseline, extra dribble, muscled it up, no. And Allen has it taken away, Hansbrough. And finally, Washington comes out of the pack. Deron Washington in the corner, stolen by Graves. Outlet, Hansbrough. And out of bounds.
Terrific hustle by Allen to get back, because Hansbrough had a clear shot to it. Hansbrough wanting the call there, but give Allen a lot of credit for getting back defensively when actually Hansbrough had a wide open lane.
This Hansbrough, I don't know, Billy, I haven't seen a kid like him in a long time. His competitive fire is second to none.
Well, the thing that I love about him is you see this in the game, but you also see it in practice. I mean, he only knows one way to play.
Inside, Stevenson, nice catch.
Good idea to get it out.
Ellington back in, where's number 22, along with Green. Green around the corner, the teardrop inside.
He loves that little floater. Had a tough game against Duke. And then made those big shots to get North Carolina in position to go into overtime with Clemson. He loves that little leader inside.
And a whistle.
Screen.
Another screen caught against VTech. And Coach Greenberg will look to his bench.
That's the second one that Allen's had in this ball game. They try to set that double high screen for the guards. And Allen's going to sit down. He's disgusted. He hasn't been a factor at all in this ball game.
Allen picks up his second foul. As Thomas brings it into the front court. Hansbrough posting up. Wants it. Drop step. Rejected. Jakite into the hands of Thomas.
I'm not so sure that wasn't a goaltender.
15-footer Stevenson. Green with the rebound. Squirts out. Delaney has it.
Tech somewhere has to find somebody to put the ball in the basket.
Delaney, and he will go to the line. So let's take a look at some teams around the country unbeaten in conference play.
Well, that 10-0 run by Duke in the ACC is rather outstanding. Cornell, a club that I watched play against Duke earlier this year, leading the Ivy League right now. Could be the first time in many, many years that the Penn or Princeton team hasn't taken the Ivy League championship. Everybody knows about Memphis being undefeated, and I would have to say that it's going to be pretty hard to envision them losing in the conference the rest of the way.
What do you think about Memphis? Are they legit?
Oh, I think they're without question legit, and I think probably said this way back in December that you had to pencil them in as a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. And also to point out that Tennessee game should help them a great deal. Tremendous rivalry. Tennessee playing extremely well now that Lofton seems like he's got his shot back. That should be one of the outstanding games of the season.
Ellington picked up his second foul. Ginyard, #1, checks back into the game for North Carolina. They run the pick and roll. Ginyard turns the corner and travels.
I think Ginyard was surprised that switch was easier to beat. Found himself wide open. Should have been looking to finish.
6 turnovers for North Carolina. On the season, they average 15 a game and force 17. Asayo. Washington has ripped off the headband. And he fires another air ball.
A lot of blanks being thrown up by Virginia Tech right now. There's something that Thomas does not have to do.
All stolen away. Vasallo, lead pass. Washington straight to the basket and pounds it down.
Not as quick for his size as anybody in the country. Quick hands, quick feet, and a terrific leaper is Washington.
Ron Washington, a senior from New Orleans. His father played 15 years in the NFL. Lionel, currently an assistant coach with the Green Bay Packers.
That was a pass.
Stevenson. Rebounded by Vasallo. Virginia Tech starting to find their confidence now. Delaney for three. They could only get one to stay down.
North Carolina still pushing the ball up the floor. Green seems like that illness that he's been suffering from really has him gasping for breath. There's a hit by Washington on Hansbrough.
7:41 to play first half. Carolina on top of VTech 22-13. Back after this. All right, a look at the game summary. Virginia Tech on the left having problems getting the ball to stay down. 4 of 16 from the field. So let's take a look at the schedule for the Memphis Tigers, their quest for 40-0.
Now that Tennessee game we talked about, that is going to be one of the key games for them and for the year. The SEC, of course, could really use that game if Tennessee could come away victorious. One of the things about this club, Gus, and as I said, they probably are going to walk through Conference USA, but they, of 328 teams in Division I, they're 323 in free throw shooting. Now they have great balance in regard to inside game. They've got great guard play. They're very deep. John Calipari obviously has experience taking teams to a Final Four. But that free throw shooting is something, as we know, you've got to win 6 games to be the national champion. And that one day comes up with the free throw shooting not there, could be a big problem.
When you're shooting 58% from the free throw line as a team, and you have a national championship in sight, it's awfully difficult to accomplish that kind of goal as Virginia Tech throws it away. What did Georgetown shoot from the free throw line? Remember when Georgetown was a bad free throw shooting team and they won the national title? Do you remember what they shot?
I don't remember what they shot, but they had some pretty good balance on that team when you've got a Patrick Ewing playing.
That's right. 24-13 Carolina. Now Hansbrough, jump hook, rattles home.
That's his patented turn hook, tough to get to because of that upper body strength. Nice job by Roy Williams on that last out-of-bounds situation, going to full court trap, throwing this young Virginia Tech team off stride.
Carolina 11 of 25 from the field. VTech 4 of 16. That one off the mark. J.T. Thompson.
Copeland and Graves in the ball game right now.
And this one will be over and back as Copeland tracks it down.
But there's a case where Thomas has to understand who is playing in the ball game with it. Copeland not a guy you want to pass it back to in the backcourt. And we have Virginia Tech. They just cannot get anything to drop. North Carolina playing good, tight, man-to-man defense. And with this young team, they have not been able to get any flow. And I think the fact that Allen has not been a factor in the low post, Gus, has really hurt them.
Right now, Allen on the bench. Thorns, Vasallo. Gets it back out to Thorns. Jakite inside.
The matchup he likes.
Vasallo short. Ginyard with the rebound.
Again, there's Thomas throwing the ball ahead to Graves on the move, not the way to initiate the offense.
Virginia Tech on the fast break. Thompson, power dribble inside. No. Batted around. Hansbrough takes it away. That's the shot right there, Billy, that Hansbrough was working on yesterday, and he would hit 8 out of 10 on a regular basis. Graves. He can shoot it.
Yes, a very good shooter. Roy Williams says not only a good shooter, he's going to have to step up and show he's a player.
5:51 to play first half. Carolina 29, Virginia Tech 13.
Well, Gus, this Purdue team that people talk about being hot, they won 10 games. We had them early in the year against Louisville when Louisville was hurt. But you could see that this young team that Matt Painter is coaching had a lot of promise. I never thought that this year they would be at the top of the Big Ten, but playing really well. And then you see Indiana, who's having all kinds of problems both on and off the floor, not playing as well as they were. They were undefeated at home for a long time, and now they've dropped 2 there.
A lot of controversy surrounding that Indiana program. Vasallo on the baseline. The floater won't go. Graves hauls it down. Long outlet pass to Thomas. Coach Williams yesterday, when we talked to him about Graves, he really likes the potential of this young man. Fires a jump shot there. Hansbrough inside, can't track it down. Now Thorne. He's got Vasallo on the wing. Can he find him? Yes, he can.
Used the rim nicely there to take away the shield of the block.
Vasallo with 6 points. 29-25. Virginia Tech 5 of 21 from the field. Carolina 12 of 27. Now Hansbrough, and he dropped it.
I don't know about that. I think his foot was still on the ground.
Take CBS Sports with you wherever you go. Get live scores, stats, and even manage your fantasy team. Text SCORE to 99888 or go to mobile.cbssports.com. Gus Johnson, Billy Packer with you from the Dean Dome here in Chapel Hill. Under 5 to play, 29-15. Tar Heel. Hudson driving.
Another help from the weak side by North Carolina. They do a terrific job defensively on that move. No need to double down on low post moves, and that's a carry.
Very good call by Mr. Perone. 9 turnovers for Virginia Tech in the first half.
They're getting very frustrated on the offensive end of the floor. Just no place to go with any points. We talked about Allen having the two fouls, so he's not going to come back in the rest of the half. So you have their number 2 scorer sitting on that bench, a no factor in this first half.
And Alex Stevenson, the sophomore from Los Angeles, comes back in. He wears number 32 for North Carolina. What a body on this man. He is a well-built young basketball player with loads of talent and potential.
And Gus, you made a good point before. North Carolina, as long as they can keep winning these ball games, even though they might not be pretty, the fact that they're getting a lot of minutes from guys that have to be tested in key basketball games, waiting for Lawson to come back.
Ellington inside. Stevenson can't hold on. And a reach-in foul coming up. This will go against Hansbrough.
Stevenson tried to make a play before he made the catch. The fundamentals of catching the ball first and then making the play are so obvious there. He had an easy layup.
15 foul against North Carolina. Now Delaney and Thompson play catch. Washington. Delaney straight away. And hits.
Danny Green went behind the screen that time. Should have fought his way over the top. Wouldn't have made that jump shot so wide open.
Malcolm Delaney, he's from Baltimore, was the Catholic School Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year in the area. And he's a freshman. Hansbrough off the bounce. And Tyler Hansbrough will go to the line. 3:40 to play, first half. North Carolina leading Virginia Tech 29-18. All right, access CV on your wireless AT&T phone to watch the complete Coach's Corner video and exclusive NCAA March Madness highlights. Gus Johnson, Billy Packer. Let's take a look at the top 10 in college basketball.
Based on the RPI, you see Tennessee up there. We talked about that Tennessee-Memphis matchup. 1 versus 3 in the RPI. Duke hanging right in there. A Connecticut team, Gus, that's made incredible moves. We've been their good luck charm. They went into Indiana with all kinds of problems and won at Indiana. And then they won at home against Pitt. And since that time, they have been playing just outstanding basketball. Terrific job by Jim Calhoun.
How do you like the beat?
Good shot blocker, has a lot to learn how to play basketball, but a real factor. As we know, Connecticut, again, leading the nation in shot blocking, just become part of their game at Connecticut. It's tough to get anything inside.
Hansbrough at the line. Tyler Hansbrough with a fine afternoon already. That is point number 12.
Already 2/3 away through his junior year, the leading free throw shot maker in North Carolina history and attempt.
Now Carolina trapping. They reverse it in the corner. Vasallo, good look. That one halfway down, pops out, batted around. Danny Green with a rebound.
It was so funny yesterday in practice. He made so many shots that Greenberg said to him, "Are you ever going to miss?" Today he can't make one. Good ball handling by North Carolina.
Awesome fast break by the Tar Heels. Delaney rises, and he hits.
Delaney's the only person that's had any kind of an offensive flow in this game.
Back-to-back jump shots going down for Malcolm Delaney. 33-20. Ellington steps back. And hits.
Nice looking form on that jumper. When you talk about him being in slumps, the only time he gets in slumps is when he stands around. When he's moving without the ball, when he's looking for his short-range jump shot, he just doesn't get in slumps. He has too good a stroke.
If you watch him, Billy, he's kind of got a Jamal Wilkes release on that jump shot. He goes around the world a little bit. 35-20 Carolina. Delaney can't hold on, bats it out, picked up Green, and he's fouled. Deron Washington called for the foul. Now, don't forget, coming up on AT&T at the half, Brett Gumbel and Seth Davis will get you caught up on all of the action going on in college basketball. Plus, they'll have the latest on the Kelvin Sampson situation at Indiana and another AT&T Naismith watch. That's all coming up on the AT&T at the half.
In regard to that Indiana situation, Gus, I really think the Jim O'Brien rule, that's what it's going to be called from now on. Jim O'Brien, of course, under NCAA investigation at Ohio State. And he won this lawsuit case against Ohio State for basically for non-due process. And I think that's the reason we're seeing some hesitation as to what's going to be the final outcome of the Kelvin Sampson case, because the university realizes they better go through the process that a man is innocent until proven guilty. But I honestly believe that they'll be making a move here within the next, I'd say, a week to 10 days. And I haven't heard the name Dan Dockett surface. Dan, of course, played for Bob Knight. He's an assistant coach at Indiana. He was brought in after having had head coaching experience. And obviously, you don't want to go ahead and make a change in mid-year without having somebody that can create continuity.
Delaney batted out, picked up Delaney again, and he's fouled. So you think that a change is coming?
Yeah, I really do. I think that this is almost inevitable. Kelvin has, in my mind, been an outstanding coach throughout his career as both an assistant and a head coach. But this is a situation where you have to assume he's got a serious problem.
2:16 to play, first half, 37-20, North Carolina. Delaney missing the first. Hansbrough checks back into the game as Copeland heads to the bench.
And Gus, we're talking about a team in Indiana that right, you know, I would say even a week ago, you're looking at a club that could vie for heat position in the NCAA tournament, and maybe even you could make a case as a potential Final Four team. So they have got to get themselves under control as to what's going to be the situation for the rest of the year. Nice split.
Thomas. Oh, he sticks it with the left hand.
And there are the minutes, and there are the things that he's doing right now with Lawson out of the game that will really pay some rewards for North Carolina down the stretch. Getting much more confidence now as a player on the floor that knows he's going to get minutes.
And I spoke to him before the game as well, and he said the difference for him now is since he's playing so many minutes, he has to understand the game in a different way, especially having a chance to play so much with Tyler Hansbrough. And he said that it's coming. His confidence is up behind the back. Ginyard deep in the corner. Stevenson. Tough shot. Green. And a foul. Tyler Hansbrough.
The little short jumper from the outside, taking the ball almost the length of the court on a semi-break, and then the power move with a half hook inside. You don't see a lot of those jump shots, but we saw enough of them yesterday, Gus, in practice to know that he could step out at the three-point range and be a pretty solid outside shooter. But he plays the game that his team needs to be most effective.
Very unselfish basketball player, Tyler. They told a story about him yesterday in terms of his competitive spirit. As Washington hits the first, the Princeton tennis team came to North Carolina, and somehow Tyler ended up playing ping pong with one of the kids from Princeton that was on the tennis team. Now, you know, ping pong is a game up to 21. Hansbrough is down 20-13. He rallies to come back and beat this kid, and you would have thought that he had just won the national championship.
I think he probably threatened the tennis player.
No, he did.
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't hear the rest of the story. That's a Paul Harvey story. You know, now the rest of the story. He told him if he beat him, he's going to throw him out of the building or something.
And I'm sure the Princeton kid said, "I'll sue you."
Yeah, there you go.
39-21. Carolina with the lead. 1:05 to play first half. North Carolina doing an excellent job under control, making shots that they're supposed to make, getting it to their All-America.
Hansbrough wanted that ball to be swung to the other side more quickly. He would have had himself an excellent position in a low post.
Thomas, 4 to shoot. Ginyard fires. And a whistle and foul coming up against the Tar Heel. NCAA March Madness on Demand is back. This year you can watch every game from the NCAA Championship live online for free. VIP passes are available now. Sign up at ncaa.com. Hansbrough picks up his second foul.
And that was a good job by Vasallo, rebounding in between Hansbrough and Stevenson and still using that body to get up in there and draw the foul. The guy's had some outstanding games this year. 22 against Virginia, 22 against Florida State, 24 against Miami. So he has the ability to score, but today has been held down very nice.
19 of those 24 points against Miami in the second half as Hansbrough heads to the bench. And his father, Danny, played, as we mentioned, 17 seasons in the Puerto Rican League. He played with a guy by the name of Jose Ortiz, one of the great Puerto Rican basketball players of all time, nicknamed Piolín. Remember him?
Oh, absolutely. A power player.
Now it's Green driving to the basket. 30 seconds remaining in the first half. Ginyard slashing. Gets there. Reverse layup. High. Stevenson with a rebound and stick back. 41-23. Bell
just cannot make a shot.
Virginia Tech 7 of 26 from the field. 1 of 9 from the three-point line.
Very solid first half by Stevenson. Thompson knee looks much better than it did at the University of Virginia after he got hurt. He was noticeably limping. Yesterday in practice he was slowed down a little bit, but Stevenson has played an outstanding first half.
Thomas, 3 to shoot, penetrates, dumps it down. That's a great play by a point guard that's learning and growing.
And Stevenson hustling down the court to be in position to score.
43-23, Carolina at the break. Now let's go to New York and Greg Gumbel.
Thanks, Gus. Coming up on AT&T at the half, we'll have scores and highlights, and Seth Davis joins me with the latest on Kelvin Sampson after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Your world delivered.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to AT&T at the half. I'm Greg Gumbel. A score in Chapel Hill. North Carolina leading Virginia Tech 43-23. I'm joined by Seth Davis of Sports Illustrated. Carolina's supposed to be injured and vulnerable. What's going on?
Yeah, well, what's happening is that a lot of guys who wouldn't normally see the floor are getting terrific game experience right now. They get Ty Lawson back and get healthy for the stretch run, Greg. I think they'll be a better team than they would have been if Lawson hadn't gotten hurt.
All right, 20-point lead right now. Meanwhile, in the Big 12, Colorado and Kansas underway just a short while ago, and the Jayhawks, third-ranked in the country, lead it by a score of 12-5 still early on in the first half. In the Big East, Georgetown and Syracuse. Syracuse forward Dante Green, can't leave him alone for that three. 49-36, the Orange on top.
Apparently you can't leave him alone, Greg. And, you know, Syracuse desperately in need of a good win after the loss at South Florida. That's Paul Harris on the jam. They led it by 21. If they can hold on here, Greg, it will really help their NCAA tournament chance.
Hoyas won the first meeting in overtime. Syracuse leads this one 109 to play. In the Big East, UConn at South Florida. A.J. Price, nice pass to Stanley Robinson down low for the layup.
Yeah, South Florida trying to make it a really good week after beating the Qs. This is Dominic Jones on the break. That put the Bulls up by 3, trying to hang on for a surprising home win.
UConn has won 8 in a row. They only lead it by 2, 3.5 to play. In the SEC, Kentucky LSU. Kentucky guard Jody Meeks to Patrick Patterson inside.
And, of course, LSU coming off that big win over Florida. The freshman, Anthony Randolph, he had 22 in that win there for the finish. And Kentucky, obviously, having gotten blitzed by Vanderbilt, absolutely demoralized.
They trail it by 2 at halftime. Now, immediately following basketball, we'll have live third-round coverage of the Northern Trust Open. Jim Nance is at Riviera Country Club with a report.
Thank you, Greg. We are live here in Los Angeles. Another gorgeous day at famed Riviera, the Northern Trust Open, and the shining star of this tournament so far is Phil Mickelson. This is yesterday at the 5th. Runner-up here a year ago to Charles Howell in a playoff. And boy, does he have it rolling here. This is at the 7th on Friday. It's a laser into this par 4, sets up another birdie. He made 9 birdies on the day Friday, birdieing half the holes here at Riviera. And after a little lesson from Hall of Famer Amy Alcott on the greens here, he's making everything he looks at. He leads by 3. He pars the opening hole today. We've got third-round coverage coming up after basketball. Greg, let's send it back to you now in New York.
All right, thank you, Jim. And when we come back, we'll talk about Kelvin Sampson and the situation at Indiana. Welcome back to AT&T at the half, everyone. I'm Greg Gumbel along with Seth Davis. On Wednesday, the NCAA accused Indiana head coach Kelvin Sampson and his staff of 5 major violations involving improper contact with recruits over the phone. Sampson, already under NCAA imposed sanctions from similar violations at Oklahoma, was also alleged to have misled both the NCAA officials and Indiana officials in the investigation. While Sampson declined to comment, yesterday IU President Michael McRobbie held a very brief news conference stating that he gave athletic director Rick Greenspan 7 days to launch an investigation and make recommendations as to what actions the university should take. Seth, first of all, let's start with this IU investigation. Why?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that to reinvestigate this matter and come up with a response to the NCAA is a massive undertaking. You can only barely begin to scratch the surface within 1 week's time. So this move to me says that the likely outcome after a week from now is that Kelvin Sampson will not in some way, shape, or form be the head coach at Indiana. The school and Sampson have to figure out how they're going to part ways, not whether they're going to part ways. And keep in mind, the big specter over this situation is that case between Ohio State and Jim O'Brien. Ohio State fired him during an investigation before there was an outcome, and they ended up paying him $2.5 million. So, Greg, the final outcome here is clear. Kelvin Sampson's not going to be the head coach at Indiana next year, certainly not, or probably not next week. The question is, how is it going to come, and how much money is Indiana going to have to pay him?
Whatever Indiana ends up paying, they can't afford for this investigation to go on very long, can they?
Well, the final outcome with the NCAA, Greg, will not come until the end of the summer. So if you're going to go and try to hire a new coach, you can't be doing that in August. You lose a whole summer's worth of recruiting, and it's hard to get a quality replacement. That's the urgency now that Indiana has to get a decision, if not next week, and certainly by the end of this season, and then let the NCAA's process play itself out over the summer.
Does the fact that IU is conducting this investigation leave any doubt as to who's at fault in this thing, as to whether or not Kelvin Sampson's guilty?
Well, you have to go back to the NCAA and convince them that the charges that they've laid out is incorrect, and the chances of that happening are just very, very small. So I think part of Indiana's calculation is to fall on their own sword, get rid of the coach now, and that way maybe the penalties that come at the end of the summer aren't as severe. But again, Greg, it's the calculation of Indiana. Do you try to make your appeal in hopes that the NCAA changes its mind after a June hearing, or do you try to make a move now and try to get a good replacement in the spring? It's a tough calculation, and it's going to be an expensive one.
What's Kelvin Sampson's future as a college basketball coach?
Well, look, right now, these are still technically allegations. The man deserves to have a fair hearing, and even if he's fired his coach, he should get that fair hearing at the end of the summer. So that's why it's incumbent on him now to get as much money as he can. If it is accepted as fact that he lied to the NCAA about these charges, I'm sure at some point down the line, Greg, he can get back into coaching, but it's going to be a very, very heavy scar for him to bear moving forward.
It's not going to be very pretty, is it?
No, it's not. not.
All right, Seth, right now it's time for our Naismith Watch presented by AT&T. And Seth, let's look at the outstanding freshman from Kansas State, Michael Beasley.
It's been the year of the freshman in college basketball, Greg, and Michael Beasley is the best of the lot. 25 points per game. He's 5th in the nation, almost 55% from field goal range. And don't look now, but Kansas State is leading the Big 12 because of Mr. Beasley.
And you can register by texting the word VOTE to 87654 on your AT&T wireless phone. Registered participants will receive a text ballot to vote for the winner when the 4 finalists are announced on March 23rd. For more information, go to cbssports.com. Thank you for watching AT&T at the half. The second half of Virginia Tech and North Carolina coming up.
CBS Sports presents AT&T at the half. Your world delivered.
Greg Gumbel in New York to update you on a couple of the basketball scores that we just covered at halftime. Syracuse is a winner at the Carrier Dome, 77-70 over number 8 Georgetown. And in the Big East at the Sun Dome in Tampa, South Florida trailing UConn by 1. Back to Chapel Hill.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by Hummer, like nothing else. Prescription Flomax. And by DirecTV. Get over 85 of the best channels in HD now. And welcome back. Now let's take a look at our Flomax first half statistics.
Well, the thing that jumps out after Virginia Tech, 7 for 27, 1 for 9 from 3, shooting 25%, getting out rebounded 30-11. As a matter of fact, the bench has the North Carolina bench has out rebounded Virginia Tech 15-11. So it's been all Carolina on the boards. Allen is going to have to be a factor to start this second half. Takes it to the basket, can't score.
Aggressive to start this second half. Andro with the rebound in the corner. Ellington off the dribble inside, changed his shot and baked it in.
It wasn't called, Gus. Did a good job altering the shot in the air, but he didn't call bank on that one.
Wow. And that was a tremendous play. Carolina taking its largest lead of the game, 45-23. So here's Delaney along with Vasallo, Allen, Thompson, and Washington.
You can see what Seth Greenberg wants to do. He wants to get Allen some touches here at the start of the second half. See if they can't get him moving. Only had 2 points in the first half. Had 2 fouls.
And the average is 13 a game. Stevenson with the rebound. Carolina with a new shot clock. Hansbrough calling for it inside. Now he pops out to the wing. Stevenson, double team.
Thomas has to come back and get the ball, and finally does. Get things reorganized. Team is kind of a messed up right there, and that was not a good half-court set by North Carolina.
They leave it for Vasallo. No shot short. Allen with the rebound inside. No call. Delaney short. Ginier. Diagonal pass to Thomas, and he throws it out of bounds.
Well, when you see this North Carolina team, and I realize that they're leading here in a game that they probably are going to win rather handily. We've seen some incredible comebacks in this league, but I don't think we're going to see one here today. But how they miss Lawson. There's a case where they got the ball to Lawson. He'd have fired it up the court in regard to that unbelievable ability that he has to dribble and create fast break opportunity. North Carolina really is missing this.
So without Lawson, they're missing a man that averages 14 a game, 6 assists a game. Shoots 82% from the free throw line, 54% from the field, and he's a 36% three-point shooter. Now Thomas strong to the basket and draws a foul.
Very impressed with Thomas here today. He got into the starting lineup when Allen was set aside. There we see Lawson sitting on the sidelines. Basically, Gus, as we watched them practice yesterday, about all that I saw him do all day was to ride on that bike. I never even saw him shoot around at all in that about hour and a half practice. But I will say this to Troy Williams, who's obviously a Hall of Fame coach. His team seems to be much fresher today than they looked yesterday, and certainly much fresher than I saw them at Virginia on Tuesday. Nice job of getting them to recuperate.
I thought what was really interesting about their practice yesterday was at the end of practice, they went through kind of a yoga slash Pilates workout. They pulled a mat out on the floor and really got stretching. They were doing their upward and downward dogs, as you always do.
Yeah, they've been doing that for years.
Ginyard.
Both teams straight man-to-man this entire ball game. A lot of switching on the inside.
And Hansbrough will go to the line.
And even as strong as Thompson, as you can see, Hansbrough, even though he had a hand on the ball, still powered it to the basket.
Critics called Jericho a blast and then some. Action-packed and full of mystery and suspense. See why fans rally for the return of Jericho Tuesday at 10/9 Central on CBS.
Hansbrough already has 6 times been named the ACC Player of the Week. The all-time record for that is 7 by Antoine Jameson. So he has an opportunity to do something nobody's ever done in the league before. Get himself on up there to the 8 or 9 ACC Players of the Week. He already holds the record for the Rookie of the Week. He won 10 of those awards when he was a freshman. So very consistent.
14 points now for Tyler. Delaney, Vasallo on the baseline, frees himself. Mid-range jump shot short.
Good block out by Ginyard on Allen.
Virginia Tech 7 of 33 from the field. Ellington dumps it down. Hansbrough will go to the line again.
You know, a lot of times, and Gus, you've seen so many big young players, particularly the younger guys who are not good from the free throw line. They get down inside, they almost don't want to get fouled. Hansbrough is the kind of guy that wants to get to that foul line, and as we know, he is so proficient when he gets there. Shooting 81% from the line. Going to get there more than 10 times a game. So you're looking at a guy, he puts 8 points on the game on the board before the game even starts in most cases.
And what's more impressive about him is that he practices just as hard as he plays. As a matter of fact, when he had that big toenail removed, he missed practice for the first time in 3 years. Vasallo, weak side rebound. Tyler Hansbrough.
I think the Carolina fans are rooting for one of these shots to go down. Virginia Tech has had such a rough time. That ball was touched, so no backcourt.
Hansbrough with 7 rebounds. Thomas wheeling and a whistle. Ball kick.
And that is exactly what Roy Williams does not want Thomas doing. Thomas had a game here 2 years ago where he had 7 turnovers, no assists in 9 minutes against Virginia Tech. He's a much better player than that now, but he could eliminate his turnovers completely if he would just let the game come to him a little bit.
Hansbrough hits the deck. Ball batted around. Washington push. Is pushed and fouled, and Hansbrough gets up quickly. Hansbrough and Allen. And Allen, as a freshman, he played at Oak Hill Academy. He also played at Hargrave as a prep kid. Before that, DeMatha, and we mentioned he was suspended for 2 games this season for bumping into an official during a game at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he apologized for that. We talked to Seth yesterday about all his young guys. He said, you know, I really need some guys that act a little bit tougher. It was not the way that the young man normally carries himself. He's very upset and apologetic about what happened in that case, and I don't think we'll see that out of him again. He actually was a Ty Lawson teammate when he was at Oak Hill.
Copeland is checked in for North Carolina. Inside, Hansbrough with the steal. And here come the Tar Heels. Thomas cut off by Delaney. Hansbrough baseline. No, it will not count. Push on the floor by J.T. Thompson.
Now Thompson too small to guard Hansbrough. Hansbrough wanted the basket here. You can see Thomas has been pushing from the time he set up in the low post. I would have given him the basket. Yes, I think that he was in the act of shooting here. Watch this. Here's the push. And he is in the act of shooting. That should have been a good basket and a free throw. There's Allen's third. Grabbing Hansbrough. Well, I think Seth Greenberg will let Allen stay in this ball game. Being this far down, can't worry about his foul trouble.
Hansbrough trying to take it to him now. Across the lane. Squirts out. Picked up. Vasallo. He's got Delaney on his hip. He steps into a 3. Virginia Tech unable to make shots in this ball game.
Here we'll see the push. Now watch, as he gets the ball, he is in the act of shooting right now. And so I realized he got pushed. That basket should have counted. This Virginia Tech team having all kinds of problems today. North Carolina is number 2 in the league in field goal shooting percentage at 48%. Virginia Tech at 44, but not getting it done today. And being a young team, they're very disheartened. I mean, you can see that North Carolina has taken their game completely away from them on both ends of the floor.
Copeland with a nice backdoor pass to Thomas. 50-25. Washington continues to misfire. Delaney with the rebound, but he steps on the baseline. Washington 1 of 6 from the field. 15:36 to play, second half. Carolina with a 50-25 lead.
Greg Gumbel in New York updating UConn, South Florida. UConn up 65-62 until Jesus Verdejo hit that 3 to tie the game. Now watch the violation. They inbound the ball. The Huskies step out of bounds. Back goes USF. Dominic Jones misses the jump shot. They go to overtime, tied at 65. South Florida leads it with less than 3 to play. We'll keep you updated. Gus and Billy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Greg. What a game. South Florida.
South Florida.
Battling.
Syracuse beats Georgetown, but they got beat by South Florida. What's going on in the Big East?
I'll tell you what's going on. It's almost March. 50-25. Seth Greenberg used to coach this, South Florida, rather. Now inside, Hansbrough powers it up, and it goes down to Tyler Hansbrough.
Now Allen running quickly down floor, figuring he beat Hansbrough down there, but Hansbrough is so quick and hustles so much, doesn't give you easy baskets.
Hansbrough now with 17 points to go along with his 7 rebounds.
And I think they've talked to Allen about getting the ball to him. Not a wise pass. There's a...
And Thomas steps on the sideline out of bounds. Next, the PGA Tour on CBS and the FedEx Cup take you to Riviera Country Club and Pacific Palisades for all the action at the Northern Trust Open.
There's a case again, Gus, where Thomas trying to do a little bit too much when it's not necessary. Those are turnovers in a tight game that would really hurt North Carolina. A little double down on Allen. He wisely pulls it out.
Thorns, Allen, Washington, Masayo, and J.T. Thompson. Here's Washington deep in the corner, finally gets one to go. And it's a 3-point field goal for Deron Washington, 2 of 7 from the field now.
Virginia Tech is the 11th in scoring in the ACC. They've held 2 teams this year under 40 points. George Washington and UNC Greensboro, they're in a position today they might find themselves being held under 40.
Hansbrough off the dribble that time. 54-28. Tyler with 19. Inside, J.T. Thompson backing his way down. Nice ball fake, and he uses the left hand.
Thompson showing a lot of ability in this ball game. He was asked to guard Hansbrough earlier on in the ball games. A very powerful young player.
He's a freshman. Road North Carolina. Hansbrough, baseline jump shot, good. He's got it all.
There's what he was working on yesterday. The 15 to 18-foot jumper. He raised his fist, asking coach to come out right now.
So you know he can give you a jump hook. You know he can put it on the floor and drive. And now you know he can step out and hit a 15 and 18-foot jump shot and rebound with reckless abandon. This young man is a tremendous competitor, a tremendous talent. And that's a travel on the baseline.
Stevenson comes in the ball game to replace him.
Dave's all new with Steve Martin, Randy Jackson, Foo Fighters, and Diddy. Plus, Monday, catch Dennis Quaid and the Daytona 500 winner only on CBS. 56-30.
And look at who's playing the point guard right now, Ginyard. So Roy Williams going down to the man that he never would have anticipated have to use at that position this season.
And a push coming up. And it will go against Dorenzo Hudson, who is actually the cousin of J.T. Thompson. Dorenzo, a freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, for Virginia Tech, and that's his 2nd foul. So Green inbounds to Ginyard along with Copeland, Stevenson, and Ellington. Ellington pick and roll, turns the corner hard, keeps his dribble alive, slashes, and will go to the line. The rebounding this afternoon, North Carolina dominating the glass.
Well, we talked about them being #1 in the country, and they're getting in all kinds of ways. Tough rebounds on the inside, getting great rebounding from the weak side, rebounding on the offensive end, as we see Stevenson right there. They've just totally dominated the boards. As I mentioned, their subs actually out-rebounded the entire Virginia Tech team in the first half, 15-11.
Green has 5 rebounds. Stevenson has 6 rebounds. Thomas has 5 rebounds. Ellington with 4. Ginyard with 4 rebounds. And then there's Hansbrough with 7.
You know, Ellington now has become the leading foul shooting percentage shooter in North Carolina history. He's up to 85, almost 86%. Shamon Williams, the great free throw shooter of the past, had that record, but if he continues on the pace he's going, he'll be the best free throw shooter in North Carolina history.
Ball almost stolen away, loose. Thorns, he's tied up, and jump ball is the call. The arrow favoring North Carolina.
Well, it was a nice job by Thorns just to save that. If North Carolina picked it off, had an easy basket on the other end. Hansbrough got about, what, a 30-second rest?
That's all he needs. Almost like a hockey line shift. Now Ginyard.
I think Ginyard would be wise to get that ball out of his hands. Thorns is down nice and low and pick off that dribble.
Hansbrough still reluctant to take that 20-footer, folks, and he can hit that shot. Here's Ellington, 17 to shoot. Hansbrough open, let it go.
He's going to take that. He probably, because he is reluctant just to take that shot, in time, I think when he gets positive, he's going to make a lot of it.
Green lays it in. I agree with you, Bill.
Good hit-ahead pass by Hansbrough.
60 to 30 now.
He can put it on the floor and dribble extremely well for a man his size.
As they rise to their feet at the Dean Dome here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Virginia Tech throws it away. 11:54 to play. Second half, Carolina up 60-30.
Well, Gus, there was a Black Sunday many years ago in Raleigh, but both Duke and North Carolina that are so close by would love to go to Raleigh again this year. And one of those teams, I think, will be destined for Charlotte as well in the Eastern Regional. But the way the pod system works, I could envision both of them being in Raleigh the first week of the NCAA tournament.
Backdoor Green, reverse layup and one.
And when you take a look at this, we talked about the brutal stretch that North Carolina has been through. The Florida State win, the opportunity to come here and they lost at Duke, then that double overtime win against Clemson, and then that win, a tough win at Virginia. This is the kind of day that Roy Williams has to be looking forward to, and the fact that his team has played extremely well. We've got a nice working margin here, and an opportunity to get healthy once again.
As Green adds a free throw, 63 to 30. He has 6 points now off the bench. Make that 9 points, excuse me. Now Vasayo. Thorns a 3, and he's fouled behind the three-point line by Ginyard.
And Ginyard didn't want that foul at all. The way his team's playing, you let him take that 3.
Now near the end of today's game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team to honor their determination and outstanding play. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution. So Hank Thorns at the line, shooting 3.
In their overtime win against Boston College, this young guy, 9 for 11 of his points were in the overtime period. Huge win for this Virginia Tech team.
Virginia Tech coming off a 74-71 loss last week to Miami. They lost 2 straight games. Prior to that, 73-63 to NC State. Virginia Tech will play Maryland on Wednesday and then Georgia Tech on Saturday. 63-32 now. Hansbrough inside jump hook again. Copeland there for the foul.
On both ends of the floor, North Carolina just totally dominant. It was Stevenson in the first half getting those offensive rebounds, and Seth Greenberg just beside himself on the sidelines. This is not what he wanted his young team to do. And just a year ago, Virginia Tech beat North Carolina twice right here in overtime.
And a foul on the loose ball, and it will go against the Tar Heels. Looks like Copeland called for the foul. That's his first. And the fourth team foul against North Carolina.
In those 2 games last year, as I mentioned, that Gordon Dowdell backcourt really played great basketball to win both of those ball games. But no longer here, and he's looking at 6 freshmen, so it's an entirely different ball team.
As Allen throws it out of bounds. That's what you have sometimes with the freshmen.
Seth is down in the far corner, and I don't think he realized his team is young. I think it really surprised him how poorly they played today, and it'd be best just to go and sit down on the end of the bench and let this game roll by, because there's not much he's going to do to alter it.
Inside, Hansborough finds Copeland. He can't hang on. Graves. What a soft touch by Will Graves.
And that's a rather difficult shot to make.
Very hard shot.
It really is. You don't know whether to put it off the board or to put it straight in. It's only about 8 feet away. And that was an assist that was somewhat by surprise.
And an offensive foul called on Versailles as Hansborough slides in and takes the charge.
And one of the things about Hansborough that opponents have to understand, in his career, he's only had 48 blocked shots. He only has 8 this year. He had 17 last year. He had 23 as a freshman. So if you're going to drive to the basket, realize he's going to play for position and not to try to block the shot. So you have no business whatsoever not coming to the jump stop, going up with your jumper as opposed to crashing into him and letting him draw another charge.
Alex Stevenson replaces him. Under 10 to play, and here's Carolina leading at 67-32 baseline. Ellington.
Really good step out by Ellington.
Ellington now with 13 points. Inside, Allen rejected by Stevenson. He goes down hard. Ellington on the break. Ginyard to the bucket, and a foul.
And Stevenson took a hard fall down the other end, but you know what's surprising? When you take a hard fall down the end, but you're having a good game, it's easy to get back up.
It doesn't hurt as much.
No, it does not hurt at all. But he took some spill there. But he's having such a good game, he doesn't want to come out. He's playing right through the pain he has.
Another player having a good game is Wayne Ellington, 13 points, 5 rebounds. And when I spoke to him before the game today, I said, who do you model your game after? And I thought that he had a very intelligent player that he modeled his game after, and it's Ray Allen.
Great Connecticut shooter with excellent form, very similar to what Ellington has. And about the same size. Ellington may be, I'd say at the same age, they have built quite a lot alike too.
Ray Allen, one of the great players in college basketball during his time, and also in pro basketball. All loose, picked up Washington. Now Delaney a 3.
Nice decision. Nice decision by Washington. He could have gone down in the deep corner. Got it back out to the one guy that's been somewhat consistent today, Delaney.
Delaney with 12 points on 3 of 8 shooting, 9:16 to play second half. Carolina up 71-35.
Greg Gumbel in New York. Here's how USF and UConn went down. Under 10 seconds to play in OT. Dominique Jones with the putback for South Florida. 73-72 USF led, but here's Craig Austrie for UConn. 0.2 of a second to play. The jumper makes it 74-73 UConn in overtime. Back to Gus and Dylan.
CBS Sports College basketball coverage is sponsored by Chevy and American Revolution. Pacific Life, for insurance, annuities, and investments. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And by Bud Light, endless refreshment from start to finish. Bud Light keeps it coming.
Welcome back. 9:16 to play second half. Carolina with a huge lead. How about Coach Calhoun's team? They're starting to become battle-tested now, winning a big game like that one on the road.
They are doing that. That's an extremely young team. As we remember last year, he was very similar to what this Virginia Tech team had, with all of those freshmen making up the nucleus of his team.
Ellington.
As I said, Gus, this guy's going to have a hard time getting into slumps. Now that he's realizing it, instead of just being a standstill shooter, put the ball on the floor, shoot the medium-range jump shot, occasionally take it all the way to the basket, get yourself totally involved in the offense.
Delaney spinning, and he will go to the line. Ellington averages 16.5 a game. He's right at his season numbers right now, 16 points.
He's the #6 scorer in the ACC, and probably as good a pure shooter as the league has. But I think what he has above a lot of the pure shooters, he has that mid-range jumper and that ability to use the crossover dribble to get to the foul line.
Ellington, 28 versus Clemson, 19 against Virginia, 47 in the last 2. Prior to that, he scored only 42 points over his previous 4. How do you like it? Now, you're talking about the crossover dribble now. I would think that an old school guy like you wouldn't be a big fan of that crossover dribble stuff.
No, I think it's a terrific maneuver, and particularly if a guy can go either way with it, right hand or left hand, and he does that. And the other thing he does so well with it, he really gets down low to the floor, Gus, so it's tough to go ahead and pick up as a defender.
Wow, you learn something new every day. Billy Packer, a fan of the crossover.
Oh,
I bet you had a killer crossover in your day.
Let's not talk about that.
74-37 Carolina. Ellington again feeling it now. That was batted out of bounds by Hansbrough.
You see what Hansbrough tries to do, just keep the ball alive and active on the boards. If he doesn't get it the first time, he's really good at going back and getting the second attempt.
Thorns, Washington, Allen, along with Dell and Delaney. Three-pointer.
Second time he's been fouled on a three-point shot here in the last couple of minutes.
So there's a scramble going on in the ACC. Aside from the top teams, take a look. A lot of parity in this conference.
Wake Forest, another extremely young team. NC State struggling at the point guard position. Maryland making terrific strides after their slow start this year. Gary Williams has a team on a roll right now. Of course, everybody knows about that victory that Gary's team had coming in here against the University of North Carolina.
Only 2 losses for Carolina this season, Maryland and Duke. Delaney, second free throw good.
And if you're Roy Williams, and of course you look up at the scoreboard, there's no threat of a loss here today, but you want your guys to constantly thinking about smart basketball. And as poorly as Virginia Tech has been shooting, you don't want to be fouling guys taking three-point shots.
Danny Green checks back in as Delaney adds the 3rd free throw. He now has 17 points. 8:06 to play, 74-40. North Carolina with the lead. Green, Stevenson, that ball knocked away by Thorns, intended for Thomas, along with Ginyard and Hansbrough.
You know, the other thing Hansbrough has done today, he's taken Allen completely out of the game. Allen hasn't been able to get many touches. He got himself in foul trouble early on, and here he is guarding Hansbrough. 7 minutes to go in this ball game.
Allen with only 2 points. He averages 13 on the year. Hansbrough taking it at him once again. And a foul. 7:51 to play. Tyler Hansbrough heading to the free throw line. Carolina with a huge lead. Back after this. All right, a look at the Pacific Life game summary.
Field goal shooting percentage, Virginia Tech, it's been hovering around 20% this entire ball game. Look at the rebound totals, 41-17.
And now State Farm presents an NABC All-American Team candidate.
Candidate? You say candidate? That's an All-American first-team player, and more than likely the National Player of the Year.
He is doing a great job, Tyler. So competitive.
You know, he made all-conference, Atlantic Coast Conference as a freshman, as a sophomore. And obviously, he will make it this year. Antoine Jamison, the only guy to make it 3 years. Hansbrough may be able to break that record if he hangs around here.
Allen. And Tyler Hansbrough with his 8th rebound to go along with 23 points. Ball deflected, picked up by Allen. He can't hold on to it.
And there's another case where Thomas shouldn't have thrown the ball to Hansbrough out there. Just get the ball, bring it back out as the point guard. Don't give it to Hansbrough 25 feet from the basket and expect him to initiate the offense. Thomas has to really spend a lot of study time because he creates turnovers mentally more so than he does physically.
Hansbrough thought about the jump shot. Not necessary. Ginyard, he'll let it fly. And a
Nice release.
Marcus Ginyard, 8 of 13 from the three-point line in his last 7 games coming into this game. He was 0 for 5 in his first 18. 79-42.
4 freshmen on the floor right now for Virginia Tech.
Oh, he pinned it, Stevenson. And that's a foul.
Pretty close to an amazing block.
Don't forget, coming up next, the PGA Tour on CBS and the FedEx Cup. Take you to the Riviera Country Club in Pacific Palisades for all the action at the Northern Trust Open. Phil Mickelson playing well. Ron Jamison, Michael Jordan, some pretty big names. You know, this is my first time. This is my first time, rather, coming to the Dean Dome, and it is an impressive facility, to say the least.
You know, this
is stuff here.
Absolutely. This young man right here, Allen, has only been to the free throw line 84 times. With his ability to catch the ball in traffic, he's the kind of guy who to get to the line a lot more.
Hasbro wants it inside. He's really working hard. Box to box. Ginyard. And a blocking foul coming up against Malcolm Delaney. His second.
As I said, 4 freshmen on the floor right now. You know, Seth Greenberg is not having a good day today. Of course, last year in here, he had one of his great days as a head coach. As an assistant coach in 1984, he was an assistant for Terry Holland in one of the black days in college basketball, the history for North Carolina. That was Michael Jordan's last game, and Virginia beat him in the NCAA tournament. Seth was an assistant coach at Virginia at that time. One of the all-time upsets. Virginia then going on to the Final Four without Ralph Sampson. A lot of people figure that he was on that team, but he wasn't. They go to the Final Four and almost beat Hakeem Olajuwon in Houston in the semifinals in that Final Four.
Second free throw goes down, Virginia. 80-42. Hansbrough, good anticipation.
It really was. Alert play. Roy Williams giving him a heads up over there.
Now, you had an interesting top 5 yesterday that you discussed with me. The top 5 players that you'd really like to see play in ACC history that were kind of your all-hustle guys. You got to tell us who those guys are.
It was guys that I'd buy a ticket to see play, and we'll see this play happen in the second. There's Stevenson.
Loose. Hansbrough with the rebound. His 9th baseline block. Chiquite.
You're all 5 hustle guys, not necessarily talent-based.
Well, here's what they were. Guys that you'd pay a ticket to see, okay? The #1 guy in all the years that I've watched would have been David Thompson. Timmy Duncan would have been on that team, without question. Phil Ford would have been on that team, okay? Ralph Sampson, who you can't say, well, he was a hustler, but Ralph Sampson did such unbelievable things for a man his size, shot blocking and how he could alter a game. And the 5th guy I'd pick on that team, despite the fact that there are so many great candidates. You know, you mentioned like a Lenny Bias type, and you know, even people said Michael Jordan. But Hansbrough would make my first team as far as guys that I would buy a ticket to go watch play.
Billy, Michael Jordan wouldn't make your first team?
No, he would not make, not as a college player.
That's ridiculous.
Not as a college.
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Well, you know, I'm going based on what I observed.
Len Bias?
I mean, there's so many. Mark Price was an incredible. Buck Williams. I mean, here at North Carolina, you know, you buy a lot of tickets to see a lot of guys that played here. James Worthy wasn't a bad player.
He was okay.
But I'm talking about night in, night out. Put your money down, buy a ticket to see somebody play that would be worth every penny of it. Tyler Hansbrough would be in my top 5.
I'll tell you what, Tyler has been just a terrific college player so far. I don't know about that distance. We got to talk about that later on. We got to talk about that.
Often wrong,
I got to get you right. You know, you've been down here. Maybe you're not watching it the right way. 5:40 to play, second half. 82-42 in the corner. Delaney, and he has been excellent in the second half. Delaney now with 20 points.
There's Thomas again. See, trying to do things that are unnecessary.
That's a great block by Copeland. Inside Ellington to Stevenson.
Well, that brought the fans back into this ball game right here. You always try to come into Chapel Hill and take the fans out of the game if you're the visiting team. But basically, in this particular case, Virginia Tech took him out of the game by playing so poorly, particularly on the offensive end.
Ellington a three, and it's good. He says that he models his game after the great Ray Allen.
And Roy Williams is going to go way down the bench right now.
87-45. Ellington with 19 points. Stevenson has had a terrific game as well. 10 points and 8 rebounds. Green with the rebound. Carolina on the break. Green straight to the cup. And he draws a foul.
There's the alley-oop to Stevenson. And Gus, as I mentioned earlier, remember when Stevenson hit the floor, and he didn't worry at all about his back because he's had an outstanding game. Probably this is the best I've seen him play since that Arizona game a year ago. Really terrific on both ends of the floor, blocking shots, grabbing rebounds, running the floor beautifully.
That's right. He's got a block shot as well to go along with his 10 points and 8 rebounds. And now the subs will come in for North Carolina as Ellington will head to the bench for the final time. And he leaves with 19 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Turned it over twice. Mark Campbell, number 2, coming in now for North Carolina.
Well, in the old days at North Carolina, they used to have what they called the Big Blue Team. That was back in the days when you had unlimited scholarships, and Dean Smith would have 5 guys he could bring in, and they always came in the first half as they were in a mop-up crew, and they played some aggressive defense as hard as they could for 3 or 4 minutes period of time. We may see like a Big Blue Team coming in right now.
Mark Campbell, 5'11" from Raleigh. In the corner, Thorns. And Stevenson to get another three.
Campbell.
They want him to shoot it. He finds Stevenson. He may get an assist and a foul.
Campbell averaging 1.7 minutes per game. Did a pretty nice job in that behind-the-back dribble.
Saw him working out really hard before the game, playing one-on-one with Copeland. He's got a nice jump shot.
You see this ball going behind his back. You know, I don't consider that to be a fancy play. That was the only way that he could advance the ball. So good technique and a good hit ahead.
Now leaving the game, Danny Green. As the fans showed their appreciation, Green leads with 12 points and 6 rebounds off the bench. Remember, he had the flu, missed practice yesterday.
Tanner almost had the jump shot.
Tanner in with Campbell. Graves knocks it down.
Second big jumper he's hit today.
The feeling, Billy, that this kid is going to be a big player at North Carolina as his career develops. Only a redshirt freshman. He's got time. You can see that he's committed to improving his body. He's lost close to 30 pounds. And he can really stroke the basketball. Allen wheeling inside. Off balance, no. Graves snatches it down. Tanner in the front court. Now Campbell. Inside Stevenson, he's pushed. And Jakite pushes him out of bounds. 3:25 to play, second half. Carolina with a 91-45 lead. And don't forget, coming up next, the PGA Tour on CBS and the FedEx Cup take you to Riviera Country Club and Pacific Palisades for all the action at the Northern Trust Open. Bill Mickelson with the lead. Third round coming up next right here on CBS.
And here's Stevenson going to the foul line, only shooting 44% on the year.
One more.
Earned himself some playing time today, Gus.
Yeah, he has done a really good job.
Remember that tremendous hustle play right at the end of the first half where he ran the length of the floor and put that ball back in. he has really come to play.
Closing in on a double-double. Stevenson with 11 points and 9 rebounds, 1 block shot.
He missed 2 games earlier this year when he went home to see his father, who was ill in Los Angeles. There he gets another block, playing both ends of the floor extremely well.
Now Thorns, the inbounder, on the baseline. And he finds Bell in the backcourt. And give it back to the little man.
How about how quiet it is in here? Virginia Tech has taken the fans out of the game, but because they're somewhat bored.
Inside Allen, and he somehow finally banks it in. Jeff Allen, 2 of 8 from the field, 4 points. The average is 13. He's turned it over 5 times today. Graves to Campbell. He drives, cut off by Thorne.
Looking for Graves' jump shot here.
That one deflected out of bounds with 17 to shoot. So let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Well, NC State, a team that's been off and on. The Wake Forest team extremely young. When you look down at that schedule, North Carolina played so many games early in the year on the road, about half and half the rest of the way. Of course, that big game there over at Duke, and by that time you assume Lawson will be back in action. That will be a war.
So most of the second teamers in the game now. Wooten checks in, number 30, as well as Surrey Wood, number 24. Stolen away by Thorns. The opportunity for some of the guys that work really hard at practice to get on the floor during their time in North Carolina. Doesn't happen too often.
Well, it's not like it won't help you in practice, because they've been playing against a team that was ranked number 1 in the nation for many, many weeks. So they had a lot of competition to hone their skills in.
Off the mark for J.B. Tanner as Travis comes the other way. Marcus Travis, he's a second-team player as well for Virginia Tech.
There was a case of Campbell really moving his feet nicely at the last minute. He reaches in with the hands. If he just kept those feet going, he would have had a good defensive play.
Thursday on CBS, what's the toughest challenge yet for these survivors? Surviving each other. It's fans versus favorites on an all-new Survivor Thursday at 8/7 Central on CBS.
And, you know, Gus, we talked about that going over to play at Duke. Duke has a nice working margin here in terms of being undefeated in the league. But there would still be an opportunity for North Carolina if they were able to go over and beat Duke at Duke. And then you'd say, okay, they're 1-1 against each other. Lawson was out with an injury situation for a while, so that might have something to do with some losses. And then maybe the ACC tournament would be the determining factor as to who would be the #1 guy in the East.
Thorns hands it off, and an offensive foul called against Virginia Tech's Terrence Vincent.
Moody holds his ground on the inside. No way he's going to block the shot. Players on offense have to understand, as the guy on the other end, a shot blocker, is he going to try to draw the charge? That should determine the type of shot you take.
Campbell tried to wrap it around, and it goes out of bounds. 1:22 to go. And North Carolina wasting no time. Remember, they played those 3 tough games. Duke, Clemson. A Clemson game with double overtime, and then Virginia. They had to hold on to win it 75-74. They had a chance to get some rest. We thought they had dead legs yesterday.
Yep.
May have had them yesterday, but not today.
Well, the sequence of those games were a Wednesday night, a Sunday, a Tuesday. So you're talking about in 6 days they played 3 games, one of them on the road. It's kind of a tough trip to Charlottesville. You see Roy Williams over there cheering on all these guys that are getting an opportunity to play today. Roy Williams has had 18 straight years in which he has won an NCAA tournament game. That's an all-time record. Dean Smith with 23 straight NCAAs and Lute Olson with 23. It'd be interesting to see this year. Do they credit Lute Olson with this year's Arizona NCAA appearance or not?
That is an interesting question. Let's take a look at our Chevrolet players of the game. Malcolm Delaney from Virginia Tech with 20 points on 9 of 11 from the field, and Tyler Hansbrough, 23 points, 9 rebounds for North Carolina. In recognition of their determination and outstanding play, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund, Chevy and American Revolution. An honorable mention should be given, though, to Stevenson. 11 points, 9 rebounds.
I would agree with that one, Gus.
A sophomore from Los Angeles, California, as this North Carolina team continues to grow with all the injuries. Campbell. Moody has it on the baseline.
Still controlling the boards with the guys off the bench.
And the skip pass in the corner. Off the mark for Wooten.
Allen with a bad pass. Even at this point in the game, 29 seconds to go. Just been a nightmare of a game for that young man who probably will be an all-freshman team member of the Atlantic Coast Conference. 2 times he's been a Rookie of the Week in the league. But has not had a good game today.
Shot clock turned off. Here's Little driving. As his shot blocked. Loose. Picked up. Thorns in the front court. And he lays it up and in with 9.8 to go. And North Carolina most likely will pull it back. With 3 seconds left, the Tar Heels will improve their record to 24-2. 9-2 in ACC play. Virginia Tech falling to 5-6 in the conference, 14-11 overall. The final score from the Dean Dome here in Chapel Hill: Carolina 92, Virginia Tech 53. Coming up, Greg Gumbel in New York after this commercial break.